Fatality. Fatality.
You win!
All right, here's the fight in TAC view as we approach. I do want to reiterate my normal disclaimers. This flight model for the Gripen isn't perfect, isn't super realistic, so I don't think we can learn a lot from this, but it is really fun to fly, although I probably need to stop flying it in these kinds of engagements because I think it can build bad habits. So I would encourage you to fly some full fidelity modules, kind of mix them in as well. But what we've got, the F-16 is, whoops, I did that wrong. The F-16 was kind of building up a lot of speed and pulling ahead from the rest of the other planes. And I should say, I'm going to pause it here. Whenever you put them in here like this, these aren't grouped together. They're individual planes fighting me. So they're friendly with each other, but they're not working together. And the AI does that sometimes. Even in groups, they'll do it sometimes if you have them grouped together. But when you have them individually like this, they're not working together. They're just all trying to kill me. So, and you'll see that a lot in here that they weren't working together very well. So you can kind of take advantage of that sometimes. I would love, this is a side note, but I would love an ARMA style grouping mechanism in DCS where it was so much easier to place units and group them and set waypoints and triggers and things like that in ARMA. So I'd really love to see some just some grouping options where you could put in units that are different and then group them together. But that's a different story. So the F-16, we are pretty much co-altitude, co-energy. And we merged. He went vertical, and I decided to continue on. I was actually going to go after the last plane in the train, but I decided I saw this F-18 was kind of going down and wasn't that fast, so I decided, well, I'll go after this F-14 here. I don't know why that AI decided to do that. It's basically idling at this point, and just descending in altitude. So it's not it's losing energy basically because it's not really trying to speed up much and it's losing altitude. So this guy has okay energy. The F-16 had a lot, but he went, really vertical as you can see. And I was still building energy before I turned. So anyway, now I'm in it with the F-14. Came around fairly neutral. And then I'm not pulling on the stick as hard as I can. I mean, that's a pretty tight turn there, but I was descending as well. Now, I know that there are other aircraft kind of that are going to be giving me problems, but at the same time, I figured if I was turning violently enough with this F-14 or vigorously enough that I'd be okay. So at this point, I pull a really, really heavy lead turn that was kind of dangerous. Um, it almost gave the F-14 the opportunity to tuck in behind me, and I got kind of lucky that it didn't. Also, you can see this F-16 is coming in, and this is kind of a dangerous position, but he's going way too fast, so it wound up not being that big of a deal. So I'm kind of rolling around with this this F-14. The F-16, that should have been a problem. He wasn't patient enough. He's going too fast, so not going to be a problem anymore. We're still rolling with the F-14. And now you'll notice this F-18, maybe that was part of his plan all along, was to go down low and act like he was a Neanderthal and doesn't know how to fight, and then slip in here behind me. And you'll see that his energy level's a little bit more accommodating to him slipping in behind me. Now I'm in the driver's seat on this F-14, but the F-18 is in the driver's seat on me. It got some hits, and somewhere back here, I think there was another lead turn. So maybe not. I felt like it was, but this is more of a rolling scissors where I just got the advantage of it. Now he is going pretty fast compared to me, so he probably should have put the brakes on this F-18. If he would have, he would have had me. I would have been dead. But instead, he peeled off really sharply. Another thing that I think could be done there that I've done before is if you're going too fast, just displace, maybe barrel roll, displace vertically, horizontally, especially going up. If you've got the excess energy, go up and kind of roll out and up. Um, and that will kind of allow you to trade some of that airspeed for altitude, which maintains your energy level and allows you to trade it back out if you need to, if you wind up going too slow. So instead, he just kind of like idled back down and descended. So now both of these guys are out of the fight at my most vulnerable time, and it's a little disappointing to see, but I'm actually, in some ways, I'm also happy because it allowed me to finish off this F-14. But if these guys were really working together, there's no way at all that they would have allowed that to happen. And real players with any level of competency would not have allowed that to happen. So, as I usually say, like if this would have been real players, I'd have been dead. But put some more shots into him. Now, as I'm working on finishing him off, this F-16 is coming back at me. So okay. I got really close to this guy too, and I'm wanting to see him fall out of the sky, but right in there, I realized he's no longer a threat. I have other aircraft out here. I don't have that much ammo anyway. The Gripen doesn't carry very much ammo, but I really, really need to let this guy go. He's not a threat anymore. Let's figure something else out. So you can see the F-18 is trying to climb back up, but he's got 233 knots. So he's not a threat. I don't know where he is right now anyway. I saw the F-16 back here, and I realized that I was probably pretty slow. I didn't know for sure, but because I was chasing that F-14 and slowing down to stay behind him to get shots on him, I figured I was pretty slow, so I pulled pretty tight and then when I noticed that he was slipping outside my path, I went ahead and reversed it. Got pretty neutral. Possibly it looks like I've got the advantage. You can see the F-14 still flying, but he's kind of bugging out. And I think here I should have continued the turn, and I probably would have maybe seen or detected this guy over here, but I reversed. I don't know that that was a good move. That previous reversal, I think, was one of the best decisions I made in this fight, but this particular one, I'm not so sure. F-18, it gets a little more interesting in here. The F-18's in a good position. It looks like he rolled the wrong way. Probably should have tried to get his lift vector kind of in my plane of motion a little bit so that he could turn in behind me. He's got less speed than I do, but he's inside my turn. So this is a kind of a position where if he's oriented correctly, he could turn with me and slip in behind me. I don't think he even bothers. And these are ace level. This is ace level AI. Oh yeah, that's where they almost crashed. So he did eventually kind of roll back around, but he almost crashed into the F-16. They got 46 feet apart there, according to TAC-View. Or I think they did. Something like that. Maybe it was. It depends on, I guess it depends on, yeah, there's 47. Anyway. Too close for comfort, right? Let's see, speed-wise, 234 and 333. So they both could be dangerous there, but I also think that they had to deconflict a little bit once they almost crashed. Both of them are in a good position right now if they were oriented the right direction. So anyway, back on the F-16, I heard rather than saw the F-18 go by. It has a very distinct sound. And right there you can tell I've switched and I am now on the F-18. And I keep hitting wrong buttons, but so I know I've got a few seconds before this F-16 is a problem again because I'm kind of aware of where it went. Not exactly, not as much as I need to be. And then right here, you see this this F-18 just gave up. Absolutely gave up. His energy's so low. Like he hasn't even bothered trying to gain the energy back by going low. Like this is a huge mistake to dive like this in this kind of a fight and not have enough energy at the bottom of the dive. Like, and then he tries to climb dramatically. Um, does it say? I don't remember if it says angle of attack. I think there's a way you can see it in here. Oh my goodness, yeah. That's the path, though. I don't know that that's actually the pitch. Anyway, that might be angle of attack. That's normally, but that seems really high too. It can do it. The Hornet can do it. I'm assuming the Gripen can get pretty ridiculous angle of attack as well, but I don't think mine would have been that high given these specs. Anyway, I don't really know, but he basically gave up. And there's nothing this F-16 can do about it right now, unless he got a really lucky snapshot on me. Nothing. In fact, he's going a little bit fast to help his friend anyway from this position. It's almost like these guys are flying. These guys are ace level AI, but they're flying kind of like I used to fly. So punched him out. I mean, he's not punched out yet, but immediately roll back around, pick up the F-16. Now I'm in a one-on-one fight with a very comparable fighter. Although I'm in a mod that is way better than his. So at this point, I know as long as I've got the ammo, I'm killing this guy. We've got similar fuel states from the start of the fight. So anyway, maybe I should have followed him up, but I figured he had more energy, and I didn't want to burn mine all out. You can see I'm a little bit low, so I'm trying to climb somewhat gradually, but just, keeping an eye on him, keeping my lift vector kind of on him or near him. Now I'm going a little bit closer to horizontal. He's coming back down. His energy state is way better than mine, but I know that as long as I can keep it flying, I can get slow and I'll be able to get in behind him. He doesn't trade his energy out very well here. So he's just going into that loop. This is what they do a lot. They'll zoom climb and just roll over the top. And this is kind of the way the AI operates. If I was in an extremely comparable aircraft with a really good flight model, this would have been a difficult fight to win. But in this Gripen, it kind of keeps flying whenever you get too slow, and you keep a certain amount of authority. So it's not too hard to follow this loop around, and just you can see I always just pull a tighter loop, and at the top I get really tight, and that was just I was patient on this one. This is one of the pieces of advice I'd give to people that are trying to learn how to dogfight in DCS is just stay patient, trust your pipper, especially in the modern aircraft. In the other ones it's harder, but I just stayed patient. There were a couple times I was close to getting shots, but I didn't have quite the lead or the angle that I wanted, and then right there it just took one burst and he was dead. So I don't know what it all means. It's a mod, so but it was fun, and thanks to the AI not really working together, I was able to execute on 3 ace AI. Now I don't really want the aces to be any harder because they do get really, really difficult to fight one-on-one at times, but truthfully, there are times when they're too easy and they're too easy to exploit. So anyway, that is what it is. So as always, hope it was fun. Thanks for watching. Take care.